Hello. How are you all tonight? Good. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I appreciate you taking the time and braving the cold to come be with us tonight. We hope that you've had a great Valentine's Day weekend, and we're glad that you're going to be here tonight to celebrate with us. My name is Joey Yao. I am the director of the CLC Performing Arts Center. We're really excited for tonight's show. I have been here through all of Soundcheck. You are in for such a treat. It is going to be such a great night. Before we get into it, though, I have to bore you with a few things. This show is supported by the Five Wings Arts Council and the Minnesota State Arts Board, and it's also supported by some local sponsors, including Hubbard Radio, Essentia Health, and Minnesota Public Radio. We're deeply grateful for that support. We are also supported by donors. If you are interested in supporting the work that we do, which if this is your first time to one of our shows, we bring 24 shows a year to the Brainerd Lakes area, both presenting artists like Kevin Kling, as well as our Brainerd Community Theater, which will be opening a show at the end of this month, a brand new play that we have been developing for the past year and a half called It's Murder, Don't You Know? It is a Minnesota murder mystery, really fun. I hope that you'll take the time to come see us. But if you enjoyed tonight's show and you want to support us, you're welcome to give us a donation on our website. Please tell your friends if you had a great time, tell them they need to come. If you have a terrible time, please don't tell your friends. It's fine. They don't need to know. It's all good. I have a favor to ask. I will be, for those of you who bought tickets online or left your email with us, I usually send a email following the show because I love to hear your thoughts on how you think the show went and what we can be doing to improve. So if you get that email from me, it's not spam, and I would love to hear from you. We are also in the midst right now for the next week doing a community survey with a preview of some of the shows that we are considering for next season. We've gotten a lot of amazing feedback so far from the community. The link to that survey is on our website. I'll also include it in my follow-up email to you. We would love it if you take the time to fill that one out. We hope that you'll come see Murder, Don't You Know? We also, tomorrow, especially if you have young kids in your family, we are doing an incredible family show at the Gitche-Zibby Center for the Arts called Dragons and Mythical Beasts. We did a show that is a companion to this last year called Dinosaurs World Live, which has these incredible puppets. It's just an amazing show. Really blows everyone away when they see it. So if you have young children in your family, they will absolutely love it. We hope that you'll join us. That'll be tomorrow at 2 o'clock at the Gitche-Zibby Center for the Arts. And that's all I've got. Thank you so much for being here. And please welcome to the stage Kevin Kling and The Love Show.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No. I just want to tell you right now that I really do believe that something's got a hold on me, yeah.
Oh, it must be love.
Oh, something's got a hold on me right now, child.
Oh, it must be love.
Let me tell you now, I got a feeling, I feel so strange. Everything about me seems to have changed. Step by step, I got a brand new walk. I even sound sweeter when I talk. I said, oh. Hey, baby, oh, it must be love.
You know it must be love.
Let me tell you now, sister gone and put a hurtin' on me. I said, oh,
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 oh, hey, baby. Oh, it must be love.
you know it must be love.
You know it walks like love.
Oh, it walks like love.
It talks like
Oh,
love.
it talks like love.
It makes me feel alright.
Makes me feel alright.
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night.
La 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 la.
La 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 la.
La 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 la.
La 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 la.
I said, oh,
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 oh.
hey, baby. Oh, it must be love.
Love must be love.
All right. Dan Chenard, Prudence Johnson, Dane Stauffer, Simone Perrin, Bradley Greenwald, and Claudia Schmidt. Give it up. Yeah. So I would like to welcome everyone, those of you who come from uptown, downtown, the overbearing, underprivileged, voters, boaters, teetotalers, pessimists, and optometrists. Welcome demigods, quadrupods, goon squads, outlaws, in-laws, Lawsons, Larsons, Johnsons, sons of the pioneers of the deserts, DARs, OMGs, and VIPs. Welcome diplomats, autocrats, Mickey and Minnie and Plutocrats. Welcome rhinos, winos, albinos, and by extension, any and all I have not mentioned. Welcome. It's good to be here with Minnesotans, my family of Minnesotans. I read recently where in the Star and Tribune where Minnesota uses Siri less than any other state in the union. And in the comments it said, because we don't want to bother her. So this show is Mighty Love. It's about love. And so going back to the very early days, when humans were first created by Zeus, it said, according to Plato's Republic, that all humans had 4 arms, 4 legs, 2 heads, and we had so much fun we stopped listening to the gods. So Zeus, in his anger, tore us in half. So now we have 2 arms, 2 legs, and 1 head, but we're always looking to reconnect. We're always looking to find our other half. But then I love what Zeus said after that. He said, and if you don't knock it off, you're going down to 1 leg. The Leakeys, Mary and Louis Leakey, the anthropologists, were doing diggings in Africa. And the first people they found, the people they said were the first humans that they found, were 2 skeletons. And when they dug them up, they found they were holding hands. Leakey also discovered this site, and it was when the Ice Age receded, and humans had to go from being herbivores to carnivores. And Leakey discovered they needed to have 3 new things. One was they needed new tools to adapt to being hunters instead of harvesters. The second was they had to develop a new language that would fit with their new skills. And the third he couldn't figure out, and he couldn't figure out. Finally, he got to a site hundreds of miles from the original site, and he found his answer. He found a skeleton of a woman that had brittle bone disease. So she needed to be carried from site to site to site. And that's when Leakey found what he considered the most important new skill, and that was compassion. It's a matter of survival. My buddy Joe, he was with his wife one time, and she was remembering their first date. And she's going, you remember the first date, Joe? You remember? And he's like, yeah, I think I remember. And she goes, Joe, you know what I was wearing? We went to this movie. And she goes, yeah, and you had that purple Nova? Oh, the purple Nova. And he was off to the races. He remembered what she wore, what they ate. He remembered everything, a single thing about the whole date. He knew everything. And it was like, Joe had the file, he just didn't have the password. And so once he got the password, he knew it. And I think that's like all of us. So tonight what we're going to try to do is tell stories and sing songs and try to connect with that password. Because once you fall in love, you're in the pantheon of great lovers from all times. And then we realize we love, hate, fear, and desire as much as any king or queen that ever lived. They're in us. And sometimes a story or a song will make us realize that. That's all a story or song can do. Just make us remember who we really are. So please, sit back. Don't worry about the cares of the world. You can solve those later. And please enjoy Mighty Love. Thanks.
This is a song I learned from Sinead O'Connor. I've seen the lark soar high at morn, heard his song up in the blue. I've heard the blackbird pipe his note, the thrush and the linnet too. Ah, but none of them can sing so sweet, my singing bird, as you. Oh, 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 my singing bird, as you. If I, oh, you take it. If I could lure my singing bird from his own cozy nest, if I could catch my singing bird, I would warm him on my breast. Ah, but none of them can sing so sweet, my singing bird, as you. Oh, oh, my singing bird, as you.
Oh, hey, Dane.
Oh,
Oh, no, what's wrong?
I got dumped.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible and tragic. Now I know how Romeo felt.
Who?
Romeo?
Uh-huh.
Romeo and Juliet? I
Oh.
just want to die.
Oh, well, no, I understand now. Okay. Well, Dane, if it's any consolation, that's not what really happened.
What?
Yeah, Romeo didn't die.
He didn't?
Would I lie?
No.
No, of course not. All those tragic characters in all those tragic plays of Shakespeare, they didn't really die in real life. Shakespeare just killed them off, for dramatic effect, to sell tickets.
Really?
Yeah, it's the honest truth.
Well,
Shakespeare lied when Juliet died. Romeo didn't take poison just because he lost his bride.
what did he do?
He got over it. He went back to junior high and he got over it. And so will you.
I will get
You'll
over it.
Yes. In mind that Shakespeare lied. But then there's Othello, he murdered his wife, but Shakespeare lied. Othello may have cried, but he never strangled Desdemona 'cause he thought she lied.
What did he do?
What do you think? He got over it. She found the handkerchief and he got over it. And so will you.
Really? I'll get over it.
Yes, just bear in mind that Shakespeare lied. The tears that overtake you and ache you in the trachea won't kill you till they make you old and gray.
I'll get over it.
Yes,
I'll get over it.
of course.
It's 10 to 1 to go
away. You think you got it now?
I think I got it.
All right.
So about that asp
Uh-huh.
in Cleopatra's grasp, she didn't yell, "Oh, Antony," and gasp her final gasp.
What did she say?
She said, "I'm none the worse for it.
And?
I even made a stunning snakeskin purse from it.
Yes! That's
Say
for you.
for us, bits of it. But let's
Hamlet.
put
Now there was a
Hamlet
guy
to
who
the
was really
test.
depressed, but Hamlet
Shakespeare lied when all those people died. Hamlet didn't just mope around and think of suicide.
What did he do, you tell me?
He got over it.
Yes!
He got himself some Prozac and got over it.
The same for us.
We'll get over it. Shakespeare lied.
So tell yourself the truth. The love that
made
we
us
suffer. But if we weren't tougher, there wouldn't be enough around to say.
Just get over it.
Come on, we'll
Just
get over it. Unless you go out and get struck by lightning or by a truck.
The love that hurts is guaranteed to go. Yes, guaranteed to go away.
I do not consider myself much of a poet, but I did write a poem, and it's a love poem, so I've been encouraged to read it here for you. It's called Morning. I opened my eyes in the soft gray light. We fell asleep spread about, autonomous, but by morning we are tight together, your body warm against mine. As daylight gathers, I watch your breath fall and rise, the dreams play across your face, until your eyes are open too and you nestle closer. My arm goes around you, my fingers brush your cheek, the outline of your ear. We lie in the quiet, tiny kisses and caresses, nothing spoken, so much said. But soon we are drenched in light. Enough lollygagging. This day, this gift is ours. The birds outside insist. Also, nature calls. I throw off the covers and follow you to the door. I let you out for potty and poo-poo. And fill your dish with your morning repast, which you inhale. Then come to rest at my feet as I drink tea and begin my work. 100 times today I will kiss your furry face, and 100 times you will look up at me with the light of a pure, uncomplicated love. If only I could have a puppy, I'd call myself so very lucky. Just to have some company, to share a cup of tea with me. I'd take my puppy everywhere. La 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 la, I wouldn't care. We would stay away from crowds and signs that said no
bite me. No, I know he'd never bite me. If only I could have a friend who'd stick with me until the end and walk along beside the sea and share a bit of moon with me. I'd take my friend most everywhere. La 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 la, we wouldn't care. We would stay away from crowds and signs that said no friends allowed. Oh, we'd be so happy to be together. Oh, we'd be so happy to be together. Oh, but dreams are nothing more than wishes, and a wish is just a dream. You wish to come true. Wish to come true. Wish to come true. You wish to come true. Wish to come true. Oh, dreams are nothing more than wishes, and a wish is just a dream. Wish to come true. Wish to come true. Wish to come true. Wish to come true. You wish to come true. You wish to come true. A dream is nothing more than wishes, and a wish is just a dream. Wish to come true. Wish to come true. Wish to come true. Wish to come true.
So my uncles all had dogs. They were hunting dogs. I should say something about uncles. A good uncle teaches you what not to do by doing it first. Like my Uncle Byron. Uncle Byron taught us when you're over 50 and you're a guy, don't get a perm. Uncle Urho, the Finlander who took saunas, and Uncle Urho would say he could dry himself by slapping his towel against himself 3 times. 3 times he'd go and he'd be perfectly dry. And he'd come out of the sauna, hit himself 3 times and go, okay, kids, go ahead, find the wet spot. And we're like, no. That was your imagination. Then Uncle Bob, who everyone says I take after, Uncle Bob would say, yeah, in my day, you used to be able to go to the grocery store with $1 and come back with bread and eggs and milk and a little something for yourself. Can't do that anymore. Now they have surveillance cameras. Uncle Bob is also the one who told me he'd invented a cow that gave both milk and cookies. But he said, I don't recommend the cookies. So those are my uncle. Oh, except for Uncle Johnny. Uncle Johnny was my favorite uncle. Uncle Johnny had hunting dogs. All my uncles had hunting dogs. In fact, they were all avid hunters. You watch Bambi with my uncles, and by the end you're going, there's one in the meadow. Uncle Johnny's hunting dogs, though, he would raise them, but he never hunted with them. He told us they were too valuable. So when he got a new car, he'd tear the doors off the old car and park it out in the backyard. And that became the new dog house. And the dogs would get in the cars and sit in the front seat like they were going somewhere. Uncle Johnny's favorite thing was to sit in the proscenium of his garage door surrounded by his dogs. Oh, he was in heaven. I remember one time he said, look at that darn dog, Kev. It's been staring at that dead butterfly for 2 hours. 2 hours. And I had to know I've been watching it the whole time. To Uncle Johnny, time spent with his dogs did not count against life. Oh, and he was married to Aunt Mary, and a quick Aunt Mary story. One time I overheard Aunt Mary in the kitchen, and she was talking to my mom, and she said she was worried because she had to tie Uncle Johnny's hands behind his back 6 times a day on doctor's orders because he had a lung condition, and she had to open up his chest 6 times a day. And she was worried tying up her husband 6 times a day made her kinky. And my mom says, no, Mary, not unless you enjoy it. And Mary got a worried look on her face. So dogs. So because of my uncles, I always knew I too would have dogs. And sure enough, I did. And I think of the Oglala legend, this legend that the early Americans had, where when the chasm formed between humans and animals, as the chasm widened, the last second, the dog jumped across to be with the humans. And it said the cry of the wolf is a call for his long-lost brother. Over time, we evolved with dogs. They herded our flocks and guarded our children. Martin Luther said he wished he could pray like his dog looked at meat. When Odysseus returned from his journey, the only one that recognized him was his dog, and when the world turned on Nixon, he turned to checkers. They say you're given one dog in life, and if that's true, I think a Charger. Charger was my dog. Oh, man, he was that kind of goofy dog that would carry a log around all day, a kind of dog that would join the army for the food. And he never saved my life, or if he did, he never let on that he had. But, man, when he died, I cried buckets. In the words of Kipling, brothers and sisters, I bid you beware of giving your heart to a dog to tear. But we do give our hearts to these creatures. And so when Mary brought home a puppy, I was like, no, Mary, I'm not ready. Please, not yet. And she says, just look at it. I look down. Oh, God, it's a wiener dog. It's a wiener dog. Oh. Oh, God. And she goes, no, it's not just a wiener dog. She says, it's a show dog. Oh, God, even a show dog? What do you mean? No, if this little puppy is going to grow into a show dog. I remember seeing a bumper sticker once that said, please don't tell my mother you saw me at a dog show. She thinks I play piano in a brothel. So she goes, just take him out for a walk. Just take him for a walk. Okay. So I take Fafner. Fafner's name's Fafner. I take him out for a walk, and we're walking on. This is when I learned that whenever someone sees a wiener dog, they have to yell it. I don't know if you've noticed it, but whenever someone sees it, they go, a wiener dog. This whole busload of kids goes by, a whole bus of children, and this kid leans out, and he sees our dog, and he was a standard dog, so he's a bigger one, and he goes, look, a giant miniature wiener dog. So I get to the coffee shop. And this is where all my buddies hang out. And at that time, I rode motorcycles. And all of my motorcycle buddies hang out at the shop. And I know what they're going to do. And they do. They're giving me all kinds of grief, talking about my dog as foodstuffs for their dogs. And I'm like, oh, man. And I'm trying to get by. All of a sudden, Zach. I mean, this guy, he's the toughest of them all. Zach goes, nice dog. I go, what? And he goes, yeah, that's a nice dog. And he goes, and you know what? Nothing will go through a sack full of rats faster than a wiener dog. Now the guys are looking with new reverence. And I decide to get Fafner out of there before one of them goes, hey, I happen to have a sack full of rats at home. So I get Fafner home, and you know what? Before long, I've got more leashes than belts. I've got liver in one pocket and plastic bags in the other. We have all kinds of wiener dog knick-knack, bric-a-brac all over the house. I've learned when you tell a wiener dog no, he hears, try another way. And if you're ever going through something, just get a wiener dog, because you will never see a more can-do attitude in a more can't-do body than a wiener dog. And so we have Fafner, and Fafner now has gone the way of Charger, the way of the first dog. And so we got a Basset Hound. And we got this Basset Hound, and when the breeder dropped him off, he was 10 weeks old. And she goes, okay, when it comes to training a Basset Hound, they start out slow, but then they taper off. So I have a friend, and she's got pointers, these German pointers, hunting dogs. And she said she was out hunting one day, and a bird got up, and she shot. And the 3 dogs were off. First, the veteran, the 4-year-old. I mean, this dog was in its prime. Second was an older dog, 13-year-old dog, and it was probably her last hunt. And the third dog was the puppy, excited but clueless. And the 4-year-old gets to the bird, and she picks it up, and she's returning with it, when all of a sudden she stopped. And she handed the bird to the older dog. And the older dog took a couple steps, and then she stopped and gave the bird to the puppy to finish the retrieve. I think of the Aztec legend. They believed that the Chihuahua helped you across the river when you pass away from this life on to the next. And they believe that the Chihuahua was your way across that river into the next life. And I like to think of that somewhere waiting for me is Fafner and Charger. And I think Charger's probably in the smoking lounge with a bunch of Chihuahuas.
Well, our next group of songs and poems will be about hamsters. No, I'd like to do a song here that I know we're celebrating Valentine's Day, but this was a song that celebrates all the other days of the year when you're in love. Pretty red hearts everywhere you go. Love is in the air, they say. Roses by the dozen, they're a steal, you know, for deals abound on Valentine's Day. But when the flowers have all been sent and the money's all been spent, well, that's the time for me to say, will you be my sweet post Valentine after the roses droop? When they take down all those roughly signs and Cupid's flown the coop, no more surf and turf for two, no more heart-shaped bed. I'd still like to dine alone with you and lie down toe to head. Will you be the one who hangs around after the schmaltz is gone, happy with a quiet, sweeter sound that calmly lingers on? I want no jaunt to Zanzibar, no getaway half price. I just want to be right where you are, your kiss, my paradise. Will you be my sweetheart after all, right now and just enough? Let's just ditch those tricks whose charms enthrall. That's not the lasting stuff. No more smoke and mirrors here. That's not how I'm inclined. I just want to love you plain and clear. Please be my post-Valentine, my sweet post-Valentine. Ooh. Thank you.
I'll never leave you. They grow older and left each other. That's the way love goes. That's the way love goes. Then there's a time, seems like you'll never find someone willing to love you. Keep on looking, you'll soon discover mighty that you're sure to find true love and peace of mind. At the end of the rainbow, there's no sign in the sky to follow. That's the way love goes, baby. That's the way love goes. So there's a rhyme that says life will soon be fine. Love is just what you make it. Keep on loving, you'll soon discover. Mighty love sometimes make a weak man strong. Mighty love sometimes make a rich man weak. Can knock you off your feet. You need a mighty love. Mighty, mighty, mighty love. Na 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 na. Mighty love. Na 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 na. Mighty love. Na 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 na. Mighty love.
So music is the language of love. There's a Greek philosopher, Pythagoras, who believed that there's the music of the spheres, that everything contained music. And when we're in harmony, our music is matching the music around us. In Ireland, the harp players were called hedge priests because they were believed, like hedges, to draw two different worlds together. The Bushmen of the Kalahari in Africa go out and they don't look at the stars, they listen to the stars. They listen to the songs of the ancient ancestors. I remember years ago I was in the MacPhail Center and I was touring the Center for Music, and they took me in this room and there were all these little babies listening to music. I said, "Why are you playing music for babies?" And they said, "Because when they get older, they found when babies have music, they handle transitions better." I go into another room, it's called Giving Voices Choir, and it's for people with Alzheimer's, and they sing once a week, every Tuesday. And this woman told me, she said, "Every Tuesday I get my husband back for 2 hours." That somehow that music connects, somehow that music brings back through the veils. I remember this guy named Dan Cohen. I was working with him on a show, and Dan Cohen invented these ear pods, and they would play music. So it had to be music from your youth. And they would play this music, and it really worked for people with dementia and Alzheimer's to help them come through the fog, if you will. And this woman hadn't spoken in 2 years, and she was sitting at a table, and her family had said, this is her favorite music. And in fact, I've been told, and I believe this, in your living will, please put in your favorite music so your relatives have that. For if anything happens to where you need that music, it will be there for you. So they put these earphones on this woman, and she sat there staring at the wall. Well, it was this beat from Puerto Rico, and this guy starts getting into the beat, this guy Dan Cohen, and all of a sudden, the first thing this woman said in 2 years was, "You're the worst dancer I've ever seen in my life." But it helps bring us back. And music, the power of music and the power of love, I believe, are connected. And this takes me to this next song. And with the help of Dan Chenard, we will do this next piece because it's about polkas. And polkas, I know, they're the best. And they found that Finland is the happiest place on the planet. It's the happiest place, and they keep going back, and they say, "You're the happiest place," and they come over to this guy, and he didn't have a smile on his face, and they said, "We've heard you're the happiest place," and he goes, "Who else did you ask?" But I think they're happy because of polkas, because you put polkas against any other music, polkas are happy. And so Dan and I are going to read through a few polka titles, and then just to show you, we're going to read through some country western titles, and you'll see the difference. All right, are you ready, Dan?
Yeah,
We need a little light.
Here. It's a little dark over here, but I think I'm with you.
I can hear you. I know you're in here.
Okay.
There you
Oh,
are.
there
Okay.
you are. Hi.
Thank you.
All right, I'm all ready.
All right, ready? Okay, here we go. Names of polkas. Happy Valley Polka.
The hoop-de-doo polka.
My wife is a happy polka.
Let's have a party polka.
Polka all night polka.
Free beer polka.
Okay, those are the polkas. Now let's hear some country songs. I found the recipe for heartbreak in a cookbook on your shelf.
Get your tongue out of my mouth, I'm kissing you goodbye.
You can't have your Kate and Edith too.
We used to kiss on the lips, but now it's all over.
Now that we're miserable, I hope you're happy.
I'll get over you when you get out from under him.
So there you have it. I think that proves the point. So years ago, Dane and I were driving across northern Minnesota, about 2 hours north of here, and all of a sudden this station came on. And the station came on, and they were playing polka. Okay, I love polka. Whoopie John, Six Fat Dutchmen, I mean, Chmielewski Fun Time. I learned any song can be a polka song, like Jackson 5. A, B, C, easy as a 1 and a 2 and a 3. So I'm listening to this station, and after a few polkas, a weatherman comes on, and he says, Thor's hammer may wake us tonight. What does he mean? Does he mean thunder? And then he says, but that should be just in time to check the ribs. What ribs? And then he says, but by morning, dawn with her rose-red fingers will color the sky just in time for the picnic. Okay, that last reference, I know, that's from the Iliad by Homer. And Thor is from Norse mythology. Where is he going with this? But all of a sudden I realize, now I know there's a storm coming tonight, but it'll be a nice day tomorrow for the picnic, and he's bringing the ribs. This guy's amazing. So over the years, like a true friend, he's always there. Clouds are as soft as a kitten's whispers. Rain is a game of inches, and snow is a game of feet. People that go south for the winter are bipolar. One time after a blizzard, he says, now is the winter on this continent. And one July, he simply cried out, oh, the humidity. He is the maestro of Mercury, the Snowstradamus, the Fognosticator, the Arctic Blasputin. Weather is science, the whims of the gods, a dance connecting us to forces greater than ourselves. Then one day I'm driving through a town, and the weatherman said the station had been sold and was dropping the polka format for a rock and roll nationally syndicated program, and he would be retiring from his duties. But the gods had blessed us with a nice week, and you know it's hard to be sad for long when you work on a polka station. But a year later, I'm driving through the town again, and there he is. There's the weatherman. He's back on the radio. And the accordion stylings of Lawrence Welk's superstar, Myron Florin. Oh, man, I don't believe it. And then it turns out that when they tried to close the station, there was this tremendous uproar, letters and emails and phone calls. And it wasn't old people, it was kids, high school kids, college kids. There were people that were now lawyers and doctors all around the world. And they said it won't be home without our polka and our weatherman. And they raised enough funds to save the station for generations to come. I drove through the range with his closing words, remember, bless the rains, respect the blizzards, and it's not the weather, but it's us that are just passing through. Thanks.
This next song may unleash your inner Pavarotti or your inner Mario Lanza. And I would encourage you, when the second verse comes around, that you encourage it too and sing along. Be my love, for no one else can end this yearning, this need that you and you alone create. Just fill my arms the way you fill my dreams, the dreams that you
I just want to throw flowers, but I don't have any. Remember when Simon and Garfunkel kind of split up and Paul Simon went solo, and remember that song, Kodachrome, remember? Okay, this was on the B side. This song I'm going to sing. It's a beauty. You've got the cool water when the fever runs high. You've got the look of love light in your eyes. I was in crazy motion till you calmed me down. Took a little time, but you calmed me down. When something goes wrong, I'm the first to admit it. I'm the first to admit it. I'm the last one to know. When something goes right, oh, it's likely to lose me, yeah. It's apt to confuse me, 'cause it's such an unusual sight. I swear I can't get used to something so right. Something so right. They've got a wall in China. It's 1,000 miles long. To keep out the foreigners, they made it strong. I've got a wall around me that you can't even see. Took a little time to get next to me. When something goes wrong, I'm the first to admit it. I'm the first to admit it, but I'm the last one to know. When something goes right, oh, it's likely to lose me. Yes, it's apt to confuse me, 'cause it's such an unusual sight. I swear I can't get used to something so right. Something so right. Some people never say the words I love you. It's not their style to be so bold. Some people never say the words I love you, but like a child they're longing to be told. If something goes wrong, yeah, I'm the first to admit it. I'm the first to admit it, but I'm the last one to know. Something goes right, oh, it's likely to lose me. Yes, it's apt to confuse me, 'cause it's such an unusual sight. I swear I can't get used to something so right. Something so right. Something so
So when I was a kid, we played this game called dodgeball. It was where you threw stinky hard rubber balls at the heads of other children, and it was part of the presidential fitness plan. And then we would climb these ropes that were like 40 feet up to the top of the gymnasium. And if you fell, don't worry, there's a 2-inch wrestling mat there to catch you. And if this wasn't bad enough, there was Valentine's Day. Oh man, Valentine's Day, you'd go out and you'd get your pack of cards, 30 cards to the pack, 30 students to the class. Choices had to be made. What does this card say? What does this card not say? What should this card say? What should this card never say? Like back in those days, you would get these, you'd give guys pictures of cars and girls ballerinas. And if you were in doubt what to give, you would give a circus motif. And the card Be My Valentine was the most dangerous. And you had 4 to the pack. What do you do with them? So you usually gave them to your buddies with "you know what I mean" penciled at the top. And then you'd put it in one of those envelopes with that candy, that chalky candy, pastel colored candy. Oh man, with phrases on it that didn't make any sense. Like, what's this? What's this do? What? And then you drop it in a doily and crepe paper box and you just walk away. Then I remember we had social dance. Social dance was always on Valentine's Day, and it was a gym, a Phi Ed class. And we would go into the gym, all the guys against one wall, all the girls against the other. It was like dodgeball again, only way worse. And then the teacher would blow her whistle, tweet, and that was our signal to all come together. Tweet, I mean romantic, huh? And we're coming together, and she would put a record on that record player. That record player, you could hit with a medicine ball and it wouldn't skip. I mean, you could see vinyl peeling up from behind the needle. And she'd put that record on, and we'd come looking for dance partners, but none of the girls wanted to dance with me because I was little. I wasn't little, I was tiny, and they didn't want to dance with me. I mean, look, they were in 5th grade, their bodies were changing. They didn't want some little head down in there. It's like, no. And then I remember I got to junior high. And oh man, it was like that. Everything started to change. My body started to change. I started to change. It was like one year, I was in Prague, Czechoslovakia one year, and they had a museum in Prague that said they had Kafka's skull on display. I got to see Kafka's skull. So I go into the museum, and they did have Kafka's skull. No, actually, they had 2 skulls, one from when he was a child and one from when he was an adult. And I thought that's how they would have our brains as kids. We have brains before junior high and brains after junior high. But during junior high, no brains. We are all on hormones. That's all that mattered. And I wanted girls to notice me so bad. But they weren't going to notice me. I was still really little. And, oh, man, I wanted them to notice. And I said, Mom, I've got to get cool clothes like the other guys. This was back in the 70s. And I said, please, Mom, I got to have shirts and pants like the guys. So she got me the shirt. They were those polyester shirts. We called them ooh shirts because when you touched them, you went ooh. And then I said, Mom, you got to get me the pants. You got to get me the bell-bottom pants. She says, Kevin, they don't come in your size. I go, just get them. They'll fit. She got me the pants, and she was right. They were huge. They didn't fit at all. She goes, Kevin, I think I can take those in. So my mom took the pants in, and the next day I had pants like the other guys, real bell bottoms. And I'm walking down the hall, and I heard these guys laughing behind me. So I turned around, and I heard these guys laughing behind me again. And this time I look, and where my mom had split the seam in the back and sewed them together, right in the middle was a pocket. So later on, I got a car. My dad helped me buy a car, and I had to take driver's education, driver's ed. And the driver instructor said, good thing you live in the Twin Cities, kid. You need the Minneapolis and St. Paul phone book. And he shoved them under me. And I was Mr. Story. Mr. Story he taught driver's ed. He taught all the eds. He taught driver's ed, phys ed, industrial ed, special ed, sex ed. He taught all the eds. And he had a movie for each one, which was basically the same movie. Don't do this, put this here, and start slow. this was going nowhere. So I realized I really had it for the flute player. I loved the flute players. I loved all the whole woodwind section. It was almost all women. Oh, man, I just had the biggest crush on them, except for the oboe player. She looked like she was going to blow a gasket. But, oh, man, the flute players. And so I joined band, and every year, I was third chair trumpet, and every year the band director would have a heart-to-heart talk with me, and he'd say, Kevin, you know, there's other avenues of expression you might want to try. I said, no. He goes, well, you can't stay in band. I said, well, I can't join choir. I'm tone deaf. He said, I know that. I already know that. And so I would cry, and he would leave me in band. That worst chair, in the worst band. It was a cadet band, it was called. All 7th graders and me a 9th grader. And we were terrible. I used to think at the wall of Jericho, we could have prevented the structural damage. Because I know the Canaanites would have said, just stop and we'll come out. Just please, we'll just come out. Now, I had to admit to being part of the problem, because whenever we would play a song and finish, I always had a little extra music left over to play. Or I would finish, and the band would keep going, and I'd have to pick up my horn and pretend I had more to do. But one time, I was playing the Hogan's Heroes March, and lo and behold, I finished at the same time as the band. It was a miracle. And then the band director said, very good, band, and now we'll play the Hogan's Heroes March. Things weren't going well. And then Robin Johnston moved to town. Oh, Robin Johnston. And because of alphabetized seating, J.K., she sat directly in front of me. Oh, man, I had the biggest crush on Robin Johnston. For one thing, she was a Catholic, so forbidden territory. And she had something called catechism, some cross between catacombs and hypnotism. It was like, what's going on? And so I had it bad for Robin. And one day I'm sitting there. She turns around and faces me. And from her lips, the words of Yeats, come away with me and ride to the land of tumulus tide, where love's first blush has never flown and faith is ever grown. And I will give you 100 hounds and 100 robes of murmuring silk and honey and oil and wine and milk and 100 shields and 100 bows and fleece as white as sea foam flows. And 100 youths, merry as birds, will dance with the speed of salmon herds and obey your every whim. She sighed, and then, but it grows late, and music and love and sleep await. Or maybe she asked to borrow a pencil. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing at that moment. Oh man, I was so in love with her. When she would walk into the room, I would count the seconds, try to make them last longer than they were. One more second, Robin, one more second. The cracked cup of love, after all, is in constant need of filling. And when she tells me I look good, I believe it. When a man is in love and he looks in a mirror, I guarantee he will see exactly what he's being told. But when I turn to Robin, I say, you're so beautiful. She says, you think so? Oh, man, I know it. I was tore apart in love and rebuilt in her eyes. And like star-crossed Italian lovers, I, like Dante, would march into hell's gaping gate for her. And she, like Sophia Loren, throwing a basin of water off the balcony, shouting, but Mama, I love him. But alas, in life's game of Red Rover, tragedy is often called to come over. And Robin moved away. And although we promised we'd write and stay in touch, our love grew pastel. And over time, my heart was broken, but time heals wounds. And I learned that the places that used to make me miss her most are the ones that now bring her back to me. It's like the places, lakes I used to fish with my dad, I couldn't even go to for years after he died. But now those are the lakes that bring him back. And I thought, how long does love last? How long can we hold it? And I learned that answer at my brother's wedding. My grandma wanted to dance. And, oh, God, I'm a terrible dancer. tweet. Anyway, Uncle Johnny, though, remember Uncle Johnny's the best dancer. He said, Kevin, if you're ever having trouble dancing, just cinch him in. So I cinched Grandma in. And we started to dance. And I was dancing for the first time in my life. And I thought, I'm going to catch her eye like, Grandma, we're really cutting a rug here. And I looked down, and her eyes were closed. And she was smiling. And I don't know who she was dancing with, but it sure wasn't me. Thanks.
Now you have reached the part of the program where we are going to be cultural and sing in a foreign language. So when you are a singer in a family, a larger family, you are often asked to sing at weddings. And then if you are blessed with a family who travels and meets people from foreign lands, when you sing in said wedding, you have to learn a song in a foreign language. So my dear sister Selena met a Colombian boy while she was studying in Madison, and they got married, and this is one of the songs that I sang at her wedding. Now it's called Contigo Aprendí. Now that means with you, I learned. So I'm going to say some of the things that I'm going to sing. I'm going to translate for you. With you, I learned that there's new and better emotions. It's very Spanish and passionate. That the week has more than 7 days, magically. That I learned to see the other side of the moon, et cetera, et cetera. So you can try and understand, or you can instead just listen to the Spanish words and think about all the things that you've learned about love, alone, or with someone else, or with your dog. Whatever works. So here we go. Contigo aprendí. Contigo aprendí que existen nuevas y mejores emociones. Contigo aprendí a conocer un mundo nuevo de ilusiones. Aprendí que la semana tiene más de 7 días, a ser mayores mis contadas alegrías y a ser dichoso yo contigo lo aprendí. Contigo aprendí a ver la luz del otro lado de la luna. Contigo aprendí que tu presencia no la cambio por ninguna. Aprendí que puede un beso ser más dulce y más profundo, que puedo irme mañana mismo en este mundo. Las cosas buenas ya contigo las viví. Contigo aprendí que yo nací el día en que te conocí. Que puede un beso ser más dulce y más profundo, que puedo irme mañana mismo en este mundo. Las cosas buenas ya contigo las viví. Contigo aprendí que yo nací el día en que te conocí.
Well, if you don't mind, let's continue the foreign language portion of the program here. I will. This is maybe a time for me to mention that I grew up in Lindstrom, Minnesota, where they taught Swedish at the high school, and I was not interested in learning Swedish because I grew up in a family where Canadian French was spoken. It was the language that my grandparents and their generation used to communicate with one another about me. And I really wanted to know what it was they were saying about me. But they did not teach French in Lindstrom. They taught Swedish. And so I had to wait until college. And when I did get to college, I learned French. I traveled to France. Why not? I traveled to Italy as well. That's a beautiful language, so I learned some Italian as well. And I have always had an interest since then in just how many songs crossed the ocean and became a totally different hit on the other side of the ocean, whether they started here and went over there, or whether it was the other way. And actually, I find more interesting the tunes that started out over there in France and in Italy and came over here, because generally the American songs that went over there, they just stayed American songs, basically. And the Beatles stayed the Beatles, and you know, all of that. But the songs that came over here, especially from France, would generally undergo a significant transformation, because French pop songs, especially love songs, tended to be they tended to savor the fatalism and the kind of the doomed nature of romance and love, and when they came over this way, they kind of they had to be cleaned up and kind of transformed. And so I thought we would do a couple of those, because the differences are stark. This first one is a tune that came out in 1955 over in France, and it was called Je t'appartiens. And any French speakers in the crowd here? I'm not hearing any. Oh, I hear one oui. Okay, that's good. So you can be the fact checker here. I'm not making this up. It's called Je t'appartiens. Gilbert Bécaud was the guy who sang it, and he helped write the tune. It's got this beautiful melody. Sounds kind of fatalistic to me. And it goes like this in French. Like a lump of clay, comme l'argile, like a squishable insect. L'insecte fragile, a docile slave. L'esclave docile, I belong to you. Je t'appartiens. And it continues in that vein. Of all my being, you are the sole master, and to you I must submit myself. Yes, I belong to you. And we're going to skip the part about being thrown into the fiery pit. But as you know, when it came over here, it was completely redone. And of course, we know it as an Everly Brothers hit. And you all know it, right? I bless the day I found you. I want to stay around you. I want to stay around you. And so I beg you, and so I beg you, let it be me. Let it be. Absolutely nothing to do with the French lyric or any of that fatalism. It's a beautiful American love song. So here's one more. And this one is actually from the 1700s, the late 1700s, just right before the French Revolution. And it's called Plaisir d'amour. And the French speaker in the crowd will know this tune, perhaps. And it goes, Oh, plaisir d'amour ne dure qu'un moment. Chagrin d'amour dure toute la vie. And of course, it's plaisir d'amour, the pleasure of love, ne dure qu'un moment. It endures only a moment. Chagrin d'amour, the pain of love, lasts your whole life long. And then the middle part of the tune is about a certain ingrate, Sylvie, and we won't get into that whole story. But it crossed the ocean partly because Elvis Presley did some time in the army over in Europe, and it was exposed to a lot of European pop music. He already had been growing up in the household that he did, where there were a lot of records and a lot of opera records, in addition to everything else. But this one, of course, became wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help? If I can't falling in love with you. And then they just totally made up this part. Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand. Take my hand. Take my whole life too. For I can't help falling in love with you. Now the last line one more time. Pick a favorite harmony. For I sound great.
Well, there's a word that rhymes with you, and that word is woo. And woo is a mysterious little word. Nobody really knows exactly where it came from. They know it goes back at least to the 11th century. There's been wooing going on. And so we jump up ahead to around Victorian times. I was buying a Valentine for the person I had just fallen madly in love with, and it was my first Valentine, so it was important, it was pivotal. On the front of the card was all they could fit on of a table of contents on what would have been a book about wooing in these times, with chapters with titles like Origins of Wooing, subtitles of Why One Must Woo, Reasons Against Wooing, Wooing by Women, things like that. Whom to Woo, Physical Mates, Special Mental Mates, Social Mates, and Special Problems. And so it was very intriguing. The card was empty inside, so I thought, well, this is my chance to jump from the 11th century to the turn of the 20th century to right now in modern times, right where I am. I laid it into this card and sent it off to my love, and I just want to say it worked. This is called Woozology. Oh, you wily wooer, you cause me, the woo-wee, to go woo-woo. And your wooful attentions make me woozy. So, woo away, and do not rue the day or the wooing, for it has hit the mark true. I would not eschew your woo, and if it's the last thing I do, I want to woo you too. This woo is doable. Oh, let the wooing we be doing illuminate the wooless hold up at Lake Woebegone and blast them into the new day of the woo play where we woo wondrously and our woo-fired ooze raise the bar on the music of the formerly ill-woominated. Good work and true, this elemental woo, not voodoo, just woo-doo. That's me and you. Woo!
Oh, how happy
love made me.
Thank you. One final story for you and then a couple more songs, but thank you all so much for having us up here. This has just been, it's been so great to get to be here. Thank you. This story, it starts with Kurt Vonnegut said, "We are dancing animals." Friedrich Nietzsche said, "Those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music." Hunter S. Thompson said, "The only people who know where the edge is are the ones who've gone over it." So I went over the edge on my motorcycle one time, and I ended up in the hospital. That's how come I haven't been using my right arm, is that I lost the use of that. And I was at the Mayo Clinic, and well, let me take it back. I was auditioning for this man, Liviu Ciulei, his name was, great director from Romania. I remember watching him direct an actor one time. He had this thick Romanian accent, and the actor did a monologue. Ciulei said, "No, more eccentric." So the actor put a tick on his face. Ciulei said, "No, more eccentric." So the actor started writhing. Ciulei, "No, more eccentric." And now the actor's frothing at the mouth, writhing on the floor. Ciulei turns to the dramaturg, who was also from Romania, and whispers something. The dramaturg nods and tells the actor, "He wants you to stand more in the center." So I auditioned for Ciulei. I auditioned for an hour and a half, and finally I got done. He said, "No, you'll never act at the Guthrie." But he said, "Don't worry, you will always be in theater." And I left on cloud 9, like, oh man. I didn't leave thinking, oh no, I didn't get a job. I'm gonna work in theater the rest of my life, and he was right. And it was like when I left the Mayo Clinic, and they tried to rewire me. They moved some nerves into my arm. They're smaller nerves than the original ones. And so it was like when my dad rewired the garage door with speaker wire, and we parked in the street a lot. And so they said, "There's nothing more we can do for you. This is just who you are." And when I left, I thought, why is my spirit so light? Why do I feel so great? Because it's like, now I know who I am. Now I can go on with my life, who I am as this new self. All right, the whole time through this, my girlfriend, my wife now, Mary, she was with me through all these different phases going through. And I'd been going out with her for about 8 years. She's an amazing photographer. And I learned so much from her photography. Because I'd be standing right there, and then I'd see a picture she took. And how did she see that? I was standing right there with her, and she saw this amazing thing I didn't even know was there. And so over time, you give your heart to somebody, and they're in your sacred area and they're the protector of your solace. So Mary's in my heart when I get in this motorcycle accident. And I'm in the hospital, and she's there with me, and I read in this pamphlet, they say, a trauma like you've just endured, 80% of relationships don't survive. I'm thinking, oh man, 80%. Why? I found that in that magazine. Why did I read that? And I thought, 80% don't survive this. So 23 years later, Mary says, "Do you want to get married?" And I go, "Yeah, I do." She goes, "Well, I just heard that the DMV is doing weddings now. Let's go down there. You want to go down there?" I said, "Yeah." So on Friday, let's go. So on Friday, we went to the DMV, and sure enough, there's a big sign, "We perform weddings now." And we go into the DMV, and all these people are in there, and they all have that crabby look on their face, and they don't want to be in there. They're looking at us, and we're coming in. We're all dressed up. We're getting married. We go to window 8, and we're in there, and we're getting married, and all these people are looking at us, and they're all of a sudden, this horrible look on their face about being there, waiting in line, and going into the DMV. I mean, they turned, and all of a sudden, they all looked up, and they had these like unbaked cookie dough faces staring at us, getting married, and it was beautiful. And it was just like, instead of the bride side and the groom side, it was like boat tabs and car licenses, and all these people, and I mean, they're in the DMV. I mean, When Franz Kafka wrote about hell, Franz Kafka wrote about the worst things you can imagine. And when he wrote about hell, he didn't write a burning pit. He wrote a DMV. He said that was his hell. And you can see all these people on the spiral down, deeper, 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 going down to hell. And then all of a sudden, here's this wedding, and their hearts just lifted. And because they know they're going to have to come back. You never go to the DMV once. You're always missing some kind of information. And they're like, you need your child's birth certificate. Nah. But now they might come back and there'll be a birthday party. There might even be a piñata shaped like a tow truck. And so here's all these people with these just beautiful looks on their faces, and we're getting married, and oh God, and we do the vows, and I'm saying my vows. They have them written out, and I'm saying these beautiful vows, and all of a sudden over the speaker I hear, J47, J47. And it didn't even matter, because I'm standing there with Mary, and I'm looking into the eyes of the one I love, and everyone there is just in this amazing glow. And we get done, and we leave the DMV. And I tell you, when you take that step, when you make that step, it was like leaving behind the old self. We step into this world that can be so troubling now. And now between the two of us, there we are starting our new lives. And when you take that step, you reach out for that hand. And the dance begins. And before knowledge can corrupt, before common sense can even interrupt, I step away from the lamp, what I understand, and reach out in the dark for her hand. For love is a step, a trip. Oh, God, I love the way she parts her teeth down the middle. I ain't lying. Love might not be boastful or rude, but I am. Rejoice, she whispers, I choose you. Rejoice, I whisper, I choose you. And I uncover her feet one night in a field before wrong, before right. And the tree of life builds our marriage bed, cradle, coffin, and its limbs hold us often and long after the gales of cries and laughter. And when my old face is my new face, and this new face is an old face, with her by my side in that state of grace that's found in a sandwich split in half, or a shared look, or a language, or a laugh, until that day when God will call us my wife, my mystery, protector of my solace. We have such a short time dancing on this clay, but like Rumi says, life is just an audition for God's ballet.
How happy you have made me. Oh, how happy you have made me. Oh, how happy you have made me. Oh, how happy you have made me. Well, I have kissed your lips 1,000 times, and more times than I can count. I have called you mine. You have stood by me in my darkest hour. And oh, how happy you have made me. Oh, how happy you have made me. Yeah. Oh, how happy you have made me. Oh, how happy you have made me. Well, in our years together, we have had stormy weather, but our love has been so strong that somehow we carried on. And oh, how happy you have made me. Oh, how happy you have made me. Yeah. Oh, how happy you have made me. Oh, how happy you have made me. Well, you brought joy to my empty life. And all that was wrong, you made it right. And I love, oh, how happy you have made me. Oh, how happy you have made me. Come on now.
As I walk this wicked world, searching for light in the darkness of insanity, I ask myself, is all hope lost? Is there only pain and hatred and misery? And each time I feel like this inside, there's one thing I wanna know. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? As I walk on through troubled times, my spirit gets so downhearted sometimes. Where are the strong? Who are the trusted? Where is the harmony, sweet harmony? 'Cause each time I feel it slipping away, it just makes me want to cry. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Where are the strong? Who are the trusted? Who are the trusted? Where is the harmony? Sweet harmony. And each time I feel like this inside, there's one thing I wanna know. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?
Thanks to Dan and Prue and Dane and Simone and Bradley and Claudia. Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Mr. Kevin Kling.
Thank you, crew.